full class, you know, not just people who are involved in project management, you know. Because this is a part that everybody needs to know, you see. Then later on, you know, you can work better with your group member. No, it is not. It's supposed to be for everybody. It's supposed to attend so that you know how to work together in terms of the PM thing later on, you know.
Doctor, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
I think some of us have another meeting with mentor as an attending from Dr. Leonard for EIA.
You mean like it's for IDP as well?
Yes, doctor. It's for IDP, especially Dr. Leonard's EIA.
Oh, okay. I mean, like next time we can always change time, you know. I mean, like rather than you all having like this sort of like half kind of thing, you know, then some people listen to that and some people don't listen to that. Actually this is a extra class, you know, so we don't really have to do this until the very end of the semester, you see. So I mean, like there is a schedule that Dr. Raza has already set out. For me, I'm going to use that session as a troubleshooting session. This session is more like just to have a chat with you about the requirement, about how you should be working together, you know, and all sorts of things, you know. So I mean, like it's going to be defeating the purpose whereby we are making an extra time here, and then you guys are like making appointment with other people. Like this appointment has been made with me for like past 2 weeks, you know. I've been giving you this link since last week, so this appointment was made like last week, you know. And then if you can't make it, you know, then you should have let me know. We can always change time. When I ask whoever cannot attend this, put up your hands, but nobody did, you know. And then now suddenly you tell me I've got this appointment, I've got that appointment, I'm so busy, you know. Then you should be telling the other lecturers, Dr. Ting, make the appointment with us for this time. Can you change it? You know, it's not fair for me to be like, for you guys not to be attending my things whereby I have been like completely, you know, talk about this like, you know, last week, you see. So I think it's about you guys managing yourself, you know. You don't come and waste our time, you know, and then later on, I can tell you later on, if you guys are going to go and ask Dr. Lee, Madam Rohaida, you know, can you take a look at my things, you know, and can I ask you this? Can you ask you that? They are going to say one sentence only. Go and look for Dr. Ting. So then you come and look for me again. And then I said, I didn't come to your class. I didn't come to your briefing. And then what? I had to do another one with you guys again? You see, there was this boy, Amir Harif. Is Amir Harif here this morning? Amir Harif. Harif, is that you?
Yeah, saya.
64625. Okay, good, you are here. Because
Sorry for me.
you know,
Sorry.
you want to ask Dr. Lee about what you know, check your work and that sort of things, you see. So I mean, it's like you see what she tells you. She tells you go and listen to Dr. Ting's briefing first before you ask me anything, you see. So your mentor, the purpose of your mentor in IDP is just to do some troubleshooting with you, meaning that there will be things that maybe you didn't quite get it, you know, like when you're not so sure if you can approach it this way, that way, you ask your mentor. But overall requirement, it still boils down to the lecturer giving the briefing, you see. So anyway, I mean, this is all extra. For me, this is extra because I don't have to do this. This is not within the IDP time, you see. And IDP time, Dr. Raza has a schedule, has a proper schedule to do this, and we can just follow the schedule. I can just ignore you guys and say that we follow the schedule. But you all requested, and I am happy to accommodate, to help you along a bit more to get better results and all that. I'm happy to do that. But you all must respect me in a sense that when you ask me to do this extra, you all must attend, you know. So I know I'm being really angsty here talking like this to you all who are attending, but you can let your friends know that I am not happy they are not attending. And I am not happy when they are attending Dr. Leonard's briefing because I make this appointment with you. You know, we make this appointment together. I ask you, anybody has any problem, please put up your hands. We can get we can get another time. You know, now you don't come to me on the day itself and say, I want to see my FYP supervisor, I want to see Dr. Leonard. You might as well say you want to go and see the VC. That is even better. Okay? Or you can go and see the TNC Prof. Wang. There I have even more nothing to say. You see? So please, by all means, you take note of this. When we have an appointment, you have to know first come, first serve. Which lecturer make this appointment with you? You should be saying no to the other lecturer. I'm happy if you say no to me because I've already made appointment with Dr. Leonard. We've already made appointment with Dr. Leonard, so therefore we cannot attend your thing. I'm happy to change time. You see, so please be fair please be fair to one another here, okay? All right, so you let your friends know I'm not happy with this. I'm not happy with a 47 attendance, okay? And yeah, I mean, I will speak to Leonard on this. I mean, I shouldn't be speaking to Leonard on this because this is not his fault, you know. He made an appointment, he thought you guys can make it, you know. So anyway, so how? Okay, I'll be doing this as a recording, but in normal cases, when we go back to the lab, it can happen in SEM 2, you know, when we have to go back to the uni. You know, if we are going back to the uni and this is going to be done in Mount Graphic or one of the lecture hall, I have to travel all the way there. I don't wish to only see 40 over of you, okay? So take note of that. Next time when we make an appointment, we make an appointment, you see? Okay, and then we follow the appointment time. Okay, what do you guys want to know basically?
Morning, Dr. Ting.
Morning, Alan.
First and foremost, I would like to apologize on behalf of our classmates that didn't attend this. I know that we have set this schedule since maybe week 2 or week 3.
Week 2, I think, yeah.
It should be a best sign of respect that we deserve this as you already reserve your time for us as well.
That's a good way of putting it. Yeah, thank you, Alan.
Yeah, I'm very sorry about that. And
okay, it's okay. Yeah. We will move on, but just don't come and look for me if if this is the thing that we speak about in these particular sessions, you know. And then if these people who don't attend, they will come and look for me for other things or look for Madam Rohaida or Dr. Lee. Basically, you know, we are not going to answer the same thing over and over again.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I think what you guys are concerned about is the requirement, correct? Now, can I know that at the moment, what is your progress like? Are you guys doing conceptual report?
Yes, conceptual report for IDP 1.
Yeah, and then conceptual report is also going to be handing at the end of the semester, correct? Not?
Yes.
Okay. So basically, you know, the idea is like this. You know, in project management, we talk about conceptual stage, correct or not? And this is a part that you have to collect a lot of information from different people, you see, from different group of people. And there's a few things that you need to take note in the earlier stages like this now, is before you can come up with the concept. You know, it's easy to come up with a concept because you can just say anything and everything under the sun, you see. But every project is fit to its own environment. And I'm sure you all have your own projects, correct or not? So when you have your own project, it says me if this project is in Samarahan, if this project is in Cebu, if this project is in Miri, if this project is in KK, you know, or if this project is actually in Kuching somewhere, you know, and even in Kuching, Jalan Mendu, Jalan Alice, Jalan Song, you know, and Tabuan Jaya, you know, Green Heights, you know, and 4th Mile, Parisian Road, Aran Road, Watakawa, they're all very different, you see, very different from one another in terms of a few things. You know, number one would be the maybe the geographical location. You know, I mean, like, it doesn't make too much of a difference if it's all in town center in terms of transportation. Transportation, as in, you know, that people have to transport things to site later, labor have to go to site later. These are all okay. In that sense, everybody is the same. But there will be situation that, you know, if you are, your site is actually at some ulu place, or even like in Syrian, or halfway through, 17 mile, 24th mile, and all that, those sort of places, you may have a slower kind of transportation of material that you have to be aware of, especially in the midway. You know, if you're not in Syrian, you're not in, you know, Kuching, you know, and then you're like halfway in the middle, that sort of things, you see. So then you may have a bit of an issue there. All right, and then but then in terms of land condition, the physical land condition, it will be very different from one area to the other area, correct or not? Even sometimes in the same area, you know, like even Padawan, for example, you know, when you're in 9 Mile and when you're in Padawan town itself, and further up to the church, St. Anne's Church and all that, your ground condition can actually varies as you go along. And there are some parts, because maybe it's near the Bukit or something, they are actually having a bit of a hard rock there as well. So you need to know, you know, the basic condition of your physical condition. We call it the condition of the site itself. So this is something that you have to incorporate into your report, definitely. You know, your ground condition, your bore log, you know, and what are the soil strata like, you know, and what is the current survey topo plan. You know, topo plan is very, very important. You know, we, as a practicing engineer, first thing I ask, topo, where's my topo plan? If I don't have a topo plan, I cannot function already, because that is a plot that you show whether you're going to need cut or fill, or, you know, are you on, you know, there may be a big, huge valley somewhere in that piece of land that you may need to fill up, you know, like for years to get it up, you see. So we are very worried as a developer, as an engineer who work for developer, for engineers who actually design for people. We are very concerned with topo, you know. So you must have your topo, you must have your bore log, you must do your initial site investigation. And these are the conditions, we call it latent conditions, whereby conditions that you cannot change at all, you know. What I mean by conditions that cannot change at all, it's like there's nothing you can do with the ground condition. You just have to, you know, work your engineering brain around that, you see. You cannot say that you know, the only thing that you can do is change site, you see. So you must know what are the current location. And sometimes when you go to site, you look at the site itself, because of years and, you know, tens of years of plants and all that, you know, it looks quite flat, you know, but actually it is not, you know. So you must get your, even if you don't have it, even if you normally, like, you know, as a developer who wants to buy a piece of land, we will actually get our own surveyor to go down and take a look at it, you know, and do a bit of a topography profile on that, you see. We will spend 5,000, 10,000 on that, because if you don't spend that money, you may end up not be able to gauge the actual condition of the site, the ground condition. So those initial tests, obviously, as an engineer, you know, if you're working for a developer, that is the kind of money that you will probably have to suggest to your boss to spend, and they'll probably know it as well, you see. If you are just a design engineer, you probably just need to get this information. And you may say that, Dr. Ting, I don't have my topo, you know. So if you don't have a topo, you really cannot do design. You really cannot do design. So you have to cook out some topo. You have to go and get some topo from somewhere and try to fit it into your site. You know, that's my only advice, you know. Otherwise, you're not going to spend 10,000, you know, like even 5 of you in the group, you're not going to spend 2,000 ringgit per person trying to get a surveyor to go and survey. And at this point in time, I don't think Dr. Zamri will bring everybody to a different site, you know, and do survey work, you see. So in the old days, when we have IDP only one site, then we probably can do a bit of surveying work for that particular site, but now no more, you see. So think about that, you see. So you need to have a topo, you need to have a bore log, you know. These are the information that is either being furnished to you, given to you by your IDP coordinator, which is Dr. Raza and Dr. Lina, or you have to get it yourself. And I don't know how IDP is run nowadays, as in the bigger picture, but I was the coordinator for about 10 years, you know, many years back, and I passed it over to Dr. Razak. So they've already changed it a little bit. So in the old days, we usually have one site. So I will give the topo, I will give the bolo, you see, but now I don't think so, huh? And then you will also need to look at the second thing, physical conditions of the site. Physical conditions are like man-made things around the site. For example, where are the nearest pillar hydrant? Where is the main water distribution main? Where is the road? Where is a major trunk road? Where is a branch road? Which part of your site, which piece of land from the main road is your site, or from the major transportation carriageway is your site? And then we will also look at where the electricity cable is, where your nearest substation is. We will go at, you have to explore all these things. You have to go and explore all these things. If you actually go one step further, we will also look at the demographic of the area, meaning that, you know, you need to do some survey works on how the site, what are the people around that site are like, you know, what is their age range, what is their family sizes, what is their income range, and all that. This one will probably be a bit more relevant to the architect, you know, if you're doing houses, because they need to design something that is on what kind of quality level. Then they will actually design the houses according to that quality level, and then decide whether they are going to do a medium class or high class or low end, low cost, and all that. And you also need to go to land and survey and check the condition of the land, meaning that if this piece of land is actually what we call native land, or whether it is agricultural land. And there is different things that is pertaining to land code. I think it's not supposed to be given by me, you know, in these sessions, you know, but then this is some ideas to let you think, you know. And then, of course, why? Because you do need to know the original usage of the land. Some of them, if it's mixed zone, then you probably have to build certain type of houses, you see. And some of them, if let's say, especially the first lot along the main trunk road, then the first front bit you have to build shop houses. That is the SPA requirement for the State Planning Authority requirement in Sarawak. That is how we usually practice. So if you drive along Batu Kawah, if you drive along Kota Semarang Freeway, you will see that the first thing that you see on the left and right will not be houses. It should be shop lots. Okay, because that is the requirements of SPA, because that is how we are trying to create a self-sustainable suburbs, you know, areas whereby you have shop in front, you know, you're going to get a mini mart, you're going to get petrol station, maybe, you know, you're going to get food eateries, you know, and then some small businesses, you know, that can be functioning in that area to support the people who are living up there. Shop houses, Sarawak, you have to know, shop houses and shop lot are two different things. If you are from West Malaysia, most of this commercial will be shop lots, but here there will be some that is shop houses. You have to be very careful, meaning that there will be 2 layers for commercial, and then the third and the fourth, if you're building 4, third onwards will be what we call houses. So we call it shop houses, okay? Because then up there, you will probably have to split it into 2 units, you know, and then the title that you're going to get is going to be house, like a residential thing, rather than the commercial ones. So obviously, if you get a houses thing, Batu Kawah mainly is shop houses because the upper 2 layers are all houses. If you look at One Jaya, along, you know, like nearest to you, like One Jaya, the top bit will be houses actually. So these are the things that you need to consider when you think about your option. You know, you are in a way constrained by some things, by the land usage, by the situation of the land, you know, the sizes of the land, you know, the shape of the land, you know, and all these are basically will actually impact on the numbers of houses. It will impact the layout, you know. And we may say that the layout is actually done by town planner. Yeah, I mean, it is done by town planner, so why do I need to know this if this is a town planner kind of job, By the time I get it, I probably wouldn't have much say over it, but it's good to be aware of it because later on your construction option and your costing and all this will be actually affected by that design, and that sort of layout as well. And then obviously for you guys as a civil engineer, your civil work will probably be very much affected by the layout of the site. So some of you may say that, I don't need to know layout. I don't need to know that 1 acre I can build 10 houses or 10 shop lots or 8 shop lots or whatever, and how many greens that I need to put in. Yes, you can say that you are not the one drawing the whole thing and designing the layout, but you are going to be the one that is going to design for the road, design for the water pipeline, design for the drainage, and that will greatly affect this sort of work, that you are going to design. So if they give you funny design and you can't do your road turning nicely, then you're going to be getting a lot of complaints. They're not going to go and look for a town planner and say, hey, when I drive home, this curb here is always bumping into my tire, I'm not happy with that, and they complain to the council. And the council going to look for you, they're not going to look for a town planner, you see. So these are issues that you need to be worried about, because that's why we also need you guys to be aware of the layout, and knowing the site physical conditions, the demographic, the businesses, the economics around the area. It will actually determine your selling price, and then when we determine the selling price, it's not only architect. This is job of an architect. You need to work together with the architect, because when the architect designs something, you are supposed to be building the structure. And then when you build the structure, you are the one that's going to talk about the materials also, concrete, steel, and all these sort of things. And that, because some material can only fit that particular architect's design, then the costing bit will come into picture. It's always a professional team working together. And I really hate Sarawak's mentality of, I'm an architect. I only give you my final copy of the AutoCAD after I have designed. I never even see my CNS engineer. My CNS engineer, I'm too lazy to even talk to the architect. Give me whatever that is required. If it's not done, I'm not going to start work. That's the kind of attitude that we get in our professional group of people here. And there's supposed to be many communications. The more communications that you have, a few more meetings that you have, you probably can save a lot of money for your client, and you probably can design something with a relative ease, you see. And because architects, sometimes they do have very, very funny ideas, they can have they can take triangles and make it into cuboids or something like that. I don't know, and then you have to be the one thinking like, how am I going to design this to let it stand up, you see? So, and town planner will have very funny ideas of trying to fit everything in somewhere and all that. But, then you are going to be the one that have to worry about the drain, worry about the road, worry about the water pipeline running, the sewage and all that, So, please, you have to talk to them. If you don't see these things earlier as you can, that's where we get a lot of issues. That's why nowadays, Water Board and DID, they actually want you to think about, even before you go in and submit your housing layout plan and all that, they want the drainage plan and even the water reticulation plan to be submitted first, together at the same time, because they want the approval first, because they, we have all these flooding issues, and pipeline issues, low pressure issues and all that. It's going to affect those people, the civils, the civil engineers. So therefore we have to be, and that is a new requirement now for new submission. Before even you go to SPA, get the approval first, And I've done a project recently that in Cebu, actually, the layout is done already by the planner. So they actually send it to me as an engineer CNS to take a look. And then I have to put in my the drainage system and how my water detention systems will be like. Meaning that, I have to have my on-site detention. I have to think about my on-site detention for this particular layout first before I move on and do the submission to SPA. So I have to think about, okay, my where I'm going to put my OSD, meaning that, you know, the rainwater comes down, and then it will have to go into somewhere first before release into the main drain, and then going to the main trunk drain. And that is to prevent what we call flooding issues. And of course, in Cebu, flooding issues will be one of the very big issues. So we need to look at current site water level and all that, you know, just to make sure that I submit to DID Cebu first, and DID Cebu give me permission to go ahead, and then my planner can submit to then my planner together with my SPA. You can submit to SPA first, but they will ask you to, they will comment and say that please get the ID approval. So we will get the ID and then resubmit to SPA, that sort of thing. So we can do it at the same time, like actually. So this is the idea of integrating. IDP is about integrating different professions and different people. So like I said before, you can come up with a concept, you know, you need to worry about all these things first, you know, the physical condition, the latent conditions like water table, bore lock, you know, and where are the locations, you know, of the site. These are physical conditions. What are the economics like, and what are the demographics like, you know, and that will affect who are the buyers, what are the selling price and all that. Okay, so that is the background. So once you get that done, you can come up with 2-3 different options, you know, and of what different type of structures that you are going to be looking at, or what sort of different layout that you may have for your site. I don't know, that one I cannot comment, because I won't be really marking you on the layout, you know, and if your layout is fixed, then basically that's fixed already, and you can't do anything about that, you see. And the other thing that the next thing that you'll be concerned about is with different options, it will probably take different length of time to build, and different quality of work, and also different costing. Okay, and that is something that you will be saying that, you know, for project management, you will think this is what you are concerned with, you see. But in fact, project manager, if you're group project manager, you have to coordinate among your members. Yeah, you have to coordinate among your members, and besides doing the costing, the timeline, and also the quality safety requirements, site utilization plan, and all that, yes, that is your job. But overall, you need to coordinate among them, meaning that it's better right now you all already sit down and start to create a format. You know, this is my suggestion. You already create a format for your group. Like, what is the design format? What is the calculation format? What are the drawing format? Where you're going to put your title block? Is it here on the landscape, or is it here on the column? You know, and what is it that you're going to put in the title block here? You know, you get that all set up first, get that all ready first, and then the report wise, the calculation tables and all that, get that fixed first, and then your group member will go and do their own, you know, designs and do their own different calculations, but they will be all based in the same format, same table, you know. And then what later on you will do is you cut and paste that Excel worksheet into your calculation worksheet, or you can print out the worksheet, you know. Then you don't get that kind of like one IDP 3, 5, 6 different formats in terms of calculation sheets. In the old days, in my days, you know, I love it, you know, I really love it. We have this sort of like a foolscap paper with a lot of this petak, like a bit like graph paper, and then that is our calculation sheet, you know. So we all have those one book of calculation sheet. So when we do our calculation, we manual, you know, we don't have Excel. Yes, we have Excel at that time, but we hardly use that kind of thing, you know. So we will do our, you know, bending moment, shear force diagram calculation, all on that particular sheets, you know. And then after that, we will tear it out, you know, and then we will compile that in the report. But you will have your own calculation format sheets, you know, with all your title. Let me show you some if I can find, let me see if I can find something. You hold on. I got it. Okay. So let me on this for you just to share my screen to let you have a look at, how it can look like, Yeah, like this is my project, my design calculation report, you see. So what we do is, you get this, you will always have in your design calculation report some project title, what is the subject, who is the client, and then who designed this, who calculate this, and check by who, and date and all that. And then you have this, we used to have these sort of sheets, So here where your references are, where your calculations are, and all that. So you see, a lot of us, we don't get like, you do different things among yourself, you see, so then you end up having a very bad sort of formatting with one another. So this is something that a project manager can actually create first, and then from there you can actually give it to your members, or you can all sit down and think about something, and then, or and all these calculation sheets, nowadays we don't really, write, so you have to find a way to sort of like type it in, and then these are things that we probably use Excel to run, and then the calculation comes out, and these are the references. Where are the references? This is MASMA, and this is calculation worksheet, and then we also have like a see, this is water reticulation, you see. So when we do water reticulation, we also do the same job sheets in that sense, So these are the things that you all need to think about, before you move in and, start to, do your design calculations and all that. So get it ready first, and then maybe some of you can take a snapshot now, on how this looks like, and what we do is, this is the calculation workbook, and then your report wise, it will look something like this, report lah. This is proper reporting that we do, you see, with proper cover page, this is only for water, like with the hydraulic systems, calculations and all that. Yeah. So conclusion, and then all our calculation sheet is all attached behind here, and then with the drawings is another set. So these are the common things that you will be seeing in your report, you see. So get that standardized first, I would say. Okay, and then once your options are ready, because the first thing here is you want to see you want to get your option done first. Okay, so once your option is ready, okay, I don't know, what are you going into in terms of options? See, so are you going to go by layout? Are you going to go by material designs? And the sort of things. I don't know what you're supposed to do in terms of options, honestly. So you need to talk to your IDP coordinator, what they expect you to come up in terms of options. Some in the old days, students like to compare like RC structure with steel structures, that kind of thing. Is like IPS, they all end up choosing RC structures. It's like, what's the point? They're just doing it for the sake of doing it. So we don't really want during my time, I really hate to see that. So I hope we don't see that as much now. Probably for roofing, yeah, you can have mass steel, you can have timber, you can have lightweight steel, so that is 3 options there already. And then the rest, if it's really quite fixed, then don't talk about options where you already know exactly what you want to do, you see. So you have to be, don't try to do things for the sake of doing things, that's just not that's not the point, you see. And then after that, what you need to do is you need to calculate your in terms of conceptual report, your calculation of cost is actually very brief, and your calculation of time is also quite brief. Okay, so what you need to do is, you cannot go by productivity rate, sort of things, So what I normally suggest to my students when you come to conceptual report is to actually get past historical data, meaning that you need to get the construction cost of nearby projects, and then you need to compare that with the selling price of the nearby project. Okay, and that is how we make the calculation. What we can do is, surrounding project, depending on the years that is being built, if you have a whole list of statistical data, you need to find out like those statistical data, like, you know, year, like maybe the site next to you, you know, their houses, you know, you can talk to those companies. You don't really have to go and get the final, you don't really have to go and get the final, you know, go and look at their estimates and all that. Just, you know, saying that your students, you know, can we actually find out from you that the overall construction cost, because I'm doing it as a reference to my site, you know, and it's an assignment, you know. So I'm not sure, some people may be very receptive, or you can look for some around the area, like Samarahan area, you know, and then how much are they? If it's 10 years ago, you have to write there 2010, you know, and then you can see 2015, you know, and all that. So those are construction historical data, construction cost historical data. So with the construction historical cost data, then you can think, how many are they building? What type of, you know, you can split into a few category. Okay, so your construction cost, say this is the construction cost that they will tell you 10 million, okay, to build this. You have your own eyes. You can go to their site, their project, and take a look. How many houses do they have? How many semi-D do they have? How many terraces do they have? How many shop lots do they have? So then from there, and then you also can check with them what is the size of your land. Yeah, because the size of your land with the construction cost, it will actually, you can actually gauge the civil works construction cost, you see. So from there, you can split out, like let's say 10 million, I've got 10 terraces, I've got 10 semi-Ds, I've got 5 shop lots, for example. So what you can do is you can actually split your cost of, you have to find the pattern, basically, that this 10 million, how much is it spread to civil work, how much is it spread to terrace houses, how much is it spread to semi-D, and how much does it spread to shop lot. There is no exact right and wrong, because at this initial stage, it's the conceptual stage, there is no such thing as committing that amount of money into the project. So what we do is an estimate, and this is the most basic estimates that you can do, okay? Or the other one is the formula that you have. You look at the capacities of that particular work, and then there is a formula that I can give it to you later on, that you can calculate, you know, it's like a what over what and to the 2/3 or something like that, you know. So then you can just use that formula to calculate your construction cost, okay? And we're talking about two things here. Construction cost is construction cost, okay? That is the most important thing. You are worried about the construction cost, you see. If you are the developer, you'll be worried about the selling price, you see. So construction costs, after you've done your construction costs, if you've done a really good estimates for construction costs, then plus the profit, and I can tell you easily that for any developer to have the construction cost, there will be other costs involved as well, such as some of the government levy and contribution, some of the payment that they need to make to EIA, you know, and all those sort of things, you know, and to do EIA report and all that sort of things. So all together, this will be the basic cost of the project. And if this basic cost, this developer is not going in with a double, meaning that if you everything add up is 10 million and divide by the number of houses and all that, the selling price should usually be at least 50% and above. Meaning that if I'm a developer, I'm going to spend my 3 years at least to go through this from planning all the way down to construction easily. I mean, I have a friend who is a developer, you know, he did like 8 houses, you know, in 8 houses, okay? This is a story, okay? 8 houses, very good quality houses. And recently, you know, I forgot all about that project. We have done the submission many years ago. And then they called me up and said, Dr. Ting, you know, the water reticulation drawing is ready. Bomba just commented. I was like, what? You know, water reticulation, I thought we've already submitted many years ago. And then when I look back, it's actually 2018, they did the first submission. And now 2021, you know, we're doing like the second submission. I'm like, is the house ready yet? You know, and then they said that, yeah, the house is almost ready, so we need water. I was like, what? You know, so, you know, it's actually very common, you know, 8 units, you know, and then we're talking about 4 years, but okay, like we said it, COVID, you know, so 2017, they started planning. 2018, they started to do submissions. And then 2019, they started construction. And then hit the COVID, you know, and then we had problems with other things, you know. So right until now, 4 years. You know, if you're a developer and you have this project in your hands and you're spending 4 years of your company's time trying to finish this project, you think you don't need to earn double, me? Does it make sense to you? You have to earn double. If you don't earn double, how are you going to pay for every year, you know, this sort of overheads that you're going to hold up, you know, to make your company run, you see? So the profit margin is not about at the end of the year, one lump sum of money in your bank, you know. It's always going to be rolling over to every year to run your company, to run for your engineers, you know, to give your to give bonuses, you know, and normal expenses. You have to keep the company going, you know, all that. So it is actually not, you know, when I see presentation whereby they talk about 30% income, and then when we invite engineers to come and listen to your presentation, most of them will go like, oh, 30% income. If I am the investor for this project, if I'm going to invest in your company and ask you what is the profit margin, you tell me 30%, you know, I would tell you that, you know, I'm not interested, honestly. Yeah. So that is how we are looking at projects, development projects. So you see, the construction cost we're talking about, yeah, I'm going offline a little bit because some students, they like to think about construction costs. They go to this property.com, you know, and then they look at different type of selling prices and all that, and then they tell me that it's a construction cost, you know. So I'm a bit worried. Many times this happened already for past IDP, so I do not want that to happen. You focus on construction costs. You focus on any cost that is talking about government contribution, levies, you know, because to submit to water board, you need to pay contribution to do pipelines, you see. So capital contribution to do the, you know, to tap into their existing water pipeline. They need to pay something there, you know. So you need to know what are the costs. I mean, let's say like IDP, you're not going to worry anything about this government authority kind of cost, okay? But if you're going to government authority, not if like you have to, I always suggest that every one of you send a representative. You have to go to water board, you have to go to different councils, you have to go to different DID, and some of the road are taken care by JKR. You have to go to different authority. You have to ask them for authority requirement. That is the third bit of, remember I said in the beginning of the project, depending on the site itself, what are the few things that you need to worry about? Number one is the latent conditions, of what is actually in there in the site, the land, the ground, the conditions and all that, the topo and all that, the water table. So those are one thing. Second thing is the general physical facilities around the site, like where are the water, where are the pillar hydrants, where are the existing pillar hydrants, where are the existing substation, where is the existing the nearest residential, nearest shop blocks, you know, and all that, where are the nearest road, where are the deceleration curve, where is the traffic light and all that. So you need to take pictures and do traffic studies and all that. These are the second thing. Okay, and then the third thing is authority requirement, and you will get this a lot more later on. You will be into this a lot more later on, especially for preliminary design. So after your concept, if you do have some authority requirement already, like I said, councils is definitely a big thing because you'll still look for your councils. And Kuching is a very interesting place. We have many councils. Okay, if your project is in third mile, fourth mile and above, I think Parmesan Road around that side, even around the Batu Kawan area, we're not so sure whether which council. I have to, you know, that they have a very specific demarcation. Many things are actually under, like Arang Road area could be under Padawan Council. 7 Mile definitely under Padawan Council. 10 Mile definitely under Padawan Council. Batu Kitang is definitely under Padawan Council. Okay, and then my area, like I'm in Stutong, Tabuan, and Jalan Song, you know, Green Heights, I think they're all under MBKS. And then you've got Trajaya and all this sort of area around that, Sasatok and all that, you by the DBKU. And then in Samarahan, there's Samarahan Council. And Samarahan side, the road is actually under JKR, you know. So here, sometimes the road is under the councils. So you go and figure out, okay? And then the water pipeline for Samarahan area could be under JBAP. If it's considered as rural, it's under JBAP. If it's not, then it's part of JKR. DID, definitely the drainage up in Samarahan is in DID, just Samarahan. Kuching one is Kuching, you know, and in Kuching area, in the main city area, whether you're MBKS or DPKU, everything is under Kuching Water Board. So you have to know where the territory, you know, this is very important because you may be using the wrong council authority, and all these councils, they have their own requirement, you know, they are like own council's requirement, own board requirement, JPOP and water board slightly different, you know, they can drive you crazy. Okay, I mean, but after a while, after you get used to it, you know where their areas are. It's quite easy to find out, you know. So you probably have to go to the councils itself or go to, you know, sometimes you go there and you say, this is my site. And they say, oh, no, salah, pergi tempat lain. So then, oh yeah, don't forget bomba as well. And there's another thing, bomba, you know. So bomba, you look at the pillar hydrant, you know, the firefighting, you know, if it's short lot, then there will be like internal firefighting and all that. So that one have to be approved by bomba. So before water thing, you have to go for bomba, you have to go for water board or JBAP. JBAP is dealing with anything rural, luar bandar. Okay. And within JBAP, there's still a lot of division as well. So yes, that's a different story. I don't want to go into that. Otherwise, I think we all will go a bit cuckoo, you know. Yeah. So understand your authority, understand your authority requirement. These are the basic things that you probably need to cover in the conceptual report. Because without coverage of that, then it's difficult for you to move on to your what you call the preliminary design report. Okay, Fazlin, can I do anything for you? You raise your hand.
Sorry to interrupt you, Doctor. I have a question regarding the bomba, Doctor.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is it for bomba? Do we need to show our design?
Oh, you have to show your entire water. If for us as a water reticulation, I mean, as a civil engineers, you only need to worry outside the house. Meaning that, you know, like how every house have a meter.
Yes.
A meter. So anything that goes into the house is the internal plumbing is actually worried by the M&E engineer. The one outside, the one on the other side of the meter, that one is your job.
Oh, okay. I understand.
So what happened is the pipeline, okay, this is my area actually. But once you've designed the pipeline, you also need to design the pillar hydrant, okay? And the thing is with pillar hydrant, there's two types. One is pillar hydrant as in the one that you stick up like a ear, like a little thing like that with a lollipop, okay? And then there's one that is down there called screw down hydrant, okay? The very interesting thing is when you design, okay, there is when you design for pillar hydrant, you need to know along the 90-meter radius, you must have a pillar hydrant. So it's a bit good to have more, but it's not good to have less. So let's say you have got your housing estate got 3 branches, even though you put one pillar hydrant there and then you calculate, 90-meter radius, cukup sudah. But then it's not cukup because the other 2 branches also will need at least 1 pillar hydrant for firefighting purpose. Okay. So then when you have that, there will be another pillar hydrant at the end of the line, you know. Why? Because we need to wash our pipe. When the pipe is being constructed, it's very dirty, you know, the water is not tested. So when the water comes in from the main connection out, wherever water board has done, you tap into it so that the water will gush into all your pipeline when it's completed already after you've tested it. and then the testing is passed already. Water board witnessed the testing. So they said the pipeline is no leakage and everything is ready to go. Then you need to wash the pipe. And at the end of that pillar, if you put a pipeline, I'm just trying to show you. If this is your pipeline, if you put a pillar in the middle, the lollipop in the middle, usually you would do that because then you cover the radius, So then after that, if you wash the pipe and you open this pillar hydrant, the water will gush out, correct or not? Then you're washing up to here only. What about here? So this purpose of this end pillar, most of them you say that, hey, how come so many pillars, but the problem is you don't do less, because this pillar here is needed for you to actually wash this bit of the pipe as well, the second portion of the pipe as well. And then you don't do pipe on the two sides of the road. That one is really no, wrong. Because pipe, when you do it on one side of the road, housing estate, the other one you will have a tapping. You can take a smaller pipe, and then lay underground and then tap it into this big pipe. Okay, so we need two pillar hydrant. And the funny thing is, water board likes to have a screw down hydrant which is underground. And then when you send this drawing, you will send the exact same drawing to Bomba. Okay, and Bomba will comment to you and say that we don't like this screw down hydrant. We want a pillar hydrant sticking up. And then when you change to Bomba requirement, you send it back to water board say that I don't want this. So these two people sometimes they will drive you crazy. This is what we call authority requirement, and don't ask me how to solve it. Sometimes we solve it in a very funny way. Sometimes we just try our luck. Sometimes some people in water board will overlook it. Some people in Bomba will overlook it, and then we just okay, at least as long as we have two, it doesn't matter which type. And sometimes we just put two pillar hydrant, like pop, and then Bomba is happy, and then we try to convince water board, please let us get through, that kind of thing. So a lot of our work as engineers are later on in your life, you go to the authority, you'll be sitting in the authority, you'll be talking, having coffee with the authority, So some of you working for the authority, of course, can be a bit stuff also lah. You got all these people looking for you because they are trying to discuss with you their design and all that, like to get some approval from you as an authority engineers. Like if you could be working for DID, you could be working for JBAB, you could be working for Coaching Water Board. So to answer your question, yes, you send the same drawing, the external water reticulation drawing with all the pillar hydrant design, locations and all that, calculations and all that to Bomba and Water Board. It's the same drawing. And then you will get problem when both of them start to comment, I don't want this, I don't want that. Okay.
Yeah. Good morning, Doctor. Sorry to interrupt you. I want to ask for a little bit out of the topic that we're talking about right now. For the open space, actually, what is the maximum?
Sorry.
Sorry, my name is Lutfil Hadi, 61342.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay. So on Lufing, I'll just firstly, are you clear on the pillar hydrant thing already?
Yes, now I'm clear about the pillar hydrant, Doctor.
Okay, you are clear, huh? So yeah, the drawings need to be submitted to both authorities, the same drawing and same calculations. Okay.
Meaning that for authorities that we need to submit the drawing, Doctor.
Have to all the authority, all your design calculation. Authority is the place that you do. I mean, like here in IDP, you don't go to authority and submit them lah. You only submit to us, the lecturer lah. But then in the real life, yes, in the real life, after you finish your design, it's not civil and structure is two different things.
Yes.
Okay, civil, road, drainage, sewage, whatever you've done in civil work for IDP, once that drawing is ready, okay, you need to submit, you need to take one morning and you'll be printing about 8 to 10 sets, depending on which area you are in. So you'll be cutting this drawing with all the cover letter, okay? And you will go to, let's say, Samarahan, beginning of last year, that's what I did. No, end of last year, that's what I did, after the MCO opened. So I had to take my drawing, go to, first stop was where? First stop was land and survey. Then I go in and say, this is my drawing, okay, for my project. They chop and sign the cover page, and then I, with the other 6 set, I I go to Samarahan Council, submit drawing, and then I run to the ID, and then I go to JKR, I submit 4 places, same set of drawings. And then what happened is, this design for civil works, land and survey will be the one calling for a meeting. They will be calling all this authority in for this particular project and have a meeting on a specific days and specific months. 1 month, they do it 1 time on a 2nd week or something like that. So if you want to catch this meeting time for your drawing to be approved, you have to do it before, like 3 weeks before or something like that, or a month before. So sometimes if you miss the boat, you have to wait like 2-3 months. That is authority approval. It's only when you get all this approval done, then you baru dapat start to do your construction. And then building works is completely dependent on the architect. The architect will submit that building plan to the council first. Once the council approves that building plan, then you will submit a structural plan. So always the building will be the later one, much later one. Okay. So because water in Samarahan, I think is taken care by JKR, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, but if it's in no, actually, maybe not, because I don't quite remember actually. So the 4, we submitted 4, and then supposed to be the water reticulation it can come later. So usually water reticulation and bomba will come later to submit to this authority. But what I mean earlier on just now, when I say to you guys that, in when you already go to submit to all this authority, correct or not? This is already SPA approved project. So earlier on, there will be an SPA approved thing. So that is the planner who is going to submit to SPA. Okay. And then when there's a plan, actually engineers and architects can sign also. You need to be registered with SPA. Okay. But the planner would be usually the one that would do it, or architect normally. So they will submit the plan, and they will need you as an engineer to also put your contribution in terms of the layout of your road, and then they will ask you to do your on-site detention calculation first, and they will also put in the layout of your pipeline first. And these sort of things you have to submit to water board to take a look first, okay? And then once they approve the letter and all that, then they will go to, that is only to get SPA approval for your project to have a serial number. And then without that serial number, you cannot put up a signboard, and say that, land proposed, whatever, the developer is this, and then the title number of this particular project is that one is given by SPA. Without that, you did not dapat buat apa-apa. Okay? So that is only after SPA approved, you have that piece of SPA approved letter, then you baru dapat buat all your proper engineering plan and all that kind of things, and then submit to the authority with the SPA approval. Okay? That is a normal course of things. But like I say, when you go out to work, you cannot say that Dr. Ting say this, because these people, I tell you, they change a lot. Sometimes 1 year they change 1 time, and then there's going to be like a new system or new things that you need to submit, a new form or something like that. Then every time you have a new project, you better go and find out. Yeah, Fazli, you understand? Huh?
Yes, very interesting.
So when you submit drawings, it has to be drawings, okay?
Yes, I understand.
Chop and signed by IR.
But during this IDP, is it okay just we ask the requirement?
Yes, you have to go and all the authority and get their requirement.
Okay, paham.
Yeah, because why? Say pipeline. You know, if you are in Kuching, your design, you can say, oh, my design 100 mm pipe, cukup sudah, you know, and I'll use HDPE. But authority requirement for water board is 150 mm ductile iron pipe. So even though your 150 mm ductile iron pipe is actually an over design from your own design calculation, you still have to follow the authority requirement.
Okay, understand, Doctor. But yesterday I have called Bomba just verbally to get the guideline. Is it good enough, Doctor, for this IDP?
Yes, to get a guideline is good enough.
Okay, sure. Thank you,
And
Doctor.
and make sure that you, when you know, like, please coordinate among your own this group of people here, that you should be going, like, let's say, firstly you go Bomba, so you take the Bomba one and then you give everybody who are in the Kuching area the Bomba one, you know, like your requirement. Don't like later on the other 10 group also call Bomba, can I get your guideline, can I go and see your officer, you know, and then later on we're gonna get phone call from Bomba and say, how come your student all don't come in a group one, all of them just like, you know, come randomly, that kind of thing, you know. So those of you who are going to MBKS, you go to MBKS, you take things from MBKS, go to DBK, you go to DBK, take things from DBK, Padawan, and then you bring it back and share with everybody. Otherwise, you have different 16, 18 of you going to different places, you know, different group, different places, and all this authority is going to be receiving phone calls from you guys, mati they all. Okay, so coordinate among yourself, okay, huh?
Okay, very clear. Thank you. I hope everyone alert on this matter, Doctor.
Yeah, I mean, it's in the recording, unless these people here are all sleeping. Otherwise, they should be hearing this. Okay, Lufing, so sorry, we are done already. So you say about open space, is it? Lufing, hello.
Hello, Doctor. Sorry to interrupt you just now. Hello,
Yes.
hello, Doctor. Can you hear me?
Can.
Hello, Doctor. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay,
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Sorry to interrupt you just now. I was talking about the open space. Is it yeah, a little bit out of the topic, so I just want to confirm it with you. Is it less than 12% for the open space, the allowable the allowable space lah? Is it less than 12% or something else?
Somehow I have a figure of 10 in my head. Okay. So I think should be around that region. Should be around that region. Meaning that for every development, it's just a very Kuching kind of thing, you know, that that we want to have a park, you know, like every development of certain sizes, you want to have some green so that you're not going to be like all concrete blocks, you know, kind of thing. So we are trying to have that. Is the step planning authority requirement for every piece of land that you develop, depending on the size of the land as well. It is very much subjective. You must have there must be a certain percentage of green space. And I don't know why, but I keep on thinking having a 10 in my head, 10%. Okay. So let's say for 1 acre of land, you know, you need to have about, 10 points, you know, that is about the size of a little of like two terrace houses kind of thing, like the land for 2 or 3 terrace houses as the green area. Green area can be, usually they will put it as park, like put it recreation park atau like a little garden that you can walk along as well. Yeah, so you will notice that for a lot of development in Kuching, you will see a park. Okay. If you look at the nearest to you guys know where Tabuan Tranquility is? Just some example let's say Sarah, let's say for BDC there is a Village Grove area. Hollywood Village Grove area, you will always see there's tiny parks, and there's one kind of like big park along the way. These are all part and parcel of the development, actually. Yeah. So also depending on the size of the development, it cannot be like if you're building 8 houses, 1 acre of land, they also want you to give out a huge space for a park. No, then it will depend on, you know, what are the adjacent facilities as well, and then you may have to contribute some part of your land package to join in with that package to use that facilities as well. So there is no exact right or wrong, but let's say if you have a big development like 3 acres, 4 acres, 5 acres, yeah, that sort of things, you know, when you're building like 20, 30, 50 houses, you know, especially 50 houses and above, that one is very, very specific. You will probably need to have, not probably, you will definitely need to have a park, green, open space, green area, whether you make it into a park, whether it's playground or park, is up to you. Some people even have lakes, walkway, you know, that sort of things, you know. So it's pretty much dealing with being sustainable, being Kuching being a green, you know, green garden kind of feel, you know, and then the government want everybody to be living healthily, you know. Every night you go home, instead of driving like, you know, 10 km to go to the gym, you know, you can just put on your shoes and go to the park, you know, and walk your dog, you know, that kind of thing, you know. Lifestyles, okay, that is the requirement of the park. I am actually checking with my friend and see if there's if they are replying me on the green area. They are developers, so they are probably have more latest information on the actual percentage. But like I say, I think 10 to 12 is quite common, nothing more than 15. Otherwise, for a developer, you will cry. So much of your land giving out for green area, you know, you can't build houses on it. You're losing like a few million there, okay? Okay, I will check for you on the percentage.
Doctor, I have a question.
Yes. Sorry, Lufing, are you done?
Yeah, that's all for now, doctor. Thank you.
So if you are looking at, how big is your development? The one that you
7 acre something.
Oh, definitely you will have your own green area. Definitely, there will be a park there. Yeah.
Yeah, doctor.
So
I
you
think
need
that's
to
all
know
for now.
where you're going to put that location of that park. That's very important. So we are usually, what you do is you play with the funny shape. Let's say your land has a very funny shape, something, then you put the green area in that funny shape places.
Doctor, is it okay if maybe after this our group will share our layout lah to you, site layout? Is it okay?
You have to do your own layout, is it?
Yeah, but our group already done that part, but then can we share it to you so that you can maybe check it for us?
I can take a look, but I'm not a planner, you know, so I'm not sure whether how good my advice will be in that sense, you know.
Okay. It's okay. We will discuss with I will discuss with our group first. If anything else, I will inform doctor lah.
Okay.
Okay, that's all for now, doctor. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, next.
I have a question. So I'm Shane, by the way, just now. Doctor mentioned something about lakes, am I right? So on our land, we have like a couple of fish pond. So is it possible like we merge them together and make it into like a park or something with walkway for people for jogging and stuff?
Yeah, you can. I mean, if it's that is a land that is already there with some fish pond, is it?
That's right.
Yeah, you can definitely, but would you? That's why the consideration, of course, is money lah. You know, like would that area be so you know, so nice to have houses built on it? You know, then you may have to fill it up, you know, and then build houses on it. You know, so move your green area to other places. But if that fish ponds so happens to be in, you know, like not so nice kind of thing, not so nice kind of shaped area, then you may just want to use it as the park. Yes. You know, like how, you know, you have land, sometimes you've got some sharp corners, you know, and some that is a bit like, you know, a bit odd. So then we usually try to play around, you know, that try to fit in those that you can fit in as many possible with the right orientation. Orientation is very important. Normally houses we don't want to face east, the morning and west, like the big open door, and you don't want to, like your front door and your back door, you never want to face east and west. So because of the sun, yeah, so north and south will usually be the best, you see. So that kind of thing, orientation is also coming into the picture, okay? And then you try to fit in as many in the places that you can fit in based on the SPA requirement of 1 acre, 8 to 10 houses or 10 units. Then you try to fit it in, and then the rest you need to leave some space for open space, and then your road and your drainage and all that lah.
Doctor, thank you.
Yeah. Anything else?
The thing.
Yeah.
I want to ask for the conceptual report, the ending point is when the layout is completed with everything like the water rack and just essentially is it a semi-complete layout or completed layout without detailed calculations?
Overall, for conceptual report, we will give you overall layout, meaning that you lay out where your buildings are, and then where your road are, and your turning, you know, and where your culvert and all that. All these things will be there, you know. But this is without calculation, okay? Normally we cannot do any calculation at that point in time.
I see.
And then so your water rack also, you put down where the water pipeline will run in general, you know, and where the drainage will run, and where it tap from, you know, where the water will comes in, where the drain will go out to the final discharge point, you know, and then where you're going to discharge your sewage into the manhole, you know. Are you going to use a manhole systems, or are you going to use a centralized systems, you know? So these sort of things you need to map it out first. That will be your final for your conceptual report.
I see.
And the preliminary design is whereby you will be going in, and now you look at all the authority requirement properly, and then in fact in some cases you probably do some simple calculation, okay, simple calculation as in where is the highest point, where's the lowest point, you know, and all that, and then you know just do a rough calculation on the sizes of the pipes, drains, and all that, and then you will do a more proper layout. Okay, so the presentation of the preliminary design report will be work by work. Actually, you know, you have a drainage plan, you've got the water reticulation plan, you've got a sewage plan, you know, but it's only a plan. Okay, just a plan. Okay? Some of you may say, I've already done my calculation, it's okay, but you don't really have to sort of show it, you know, in detail, but it's more like to gauge whether the sizes that you pick is actually correct or not.
I see.
Then in the detailed design is whereby you need to do, you know, like what I show you just now, all the, you know, different things within the drainage calculation, you know, like what I have here, just now. Let me show you to you again. Yeah. drainage should be calculated, you know, like the actual your catchment, you know, the ARI, you know, the V, the R, the manning, you know, all these things, the friction, the velocities, rainfall intensities, you know, so those are the real actual things that you would do, you know. Yeah, that one would be for the calculation sheet that I showed you just now, will be basically what you will see in the final design report.
I see.
So for the preliminary, is more on just the layout to gauge whether the sizes are correct, you know, are more or less correct, but you still have to change it. You know, you are still allowed to change it in final design later.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sizes of pipes, you know, type of pipes, you know, but like how many sluice valve, how many manhole, how many pillar you probably can put a few already in there, but whether it's really correct or not, it doesn't really matter in preliminary design.
I understand now.
Okay. Then for the conceptual, is more you can also present it. You can actually present it as a whole, but I would feel that it's a bit difficult to present as a whole. Like you want to put in the pipe with your drain, with your sewage, everything in one drawing, can be a little bit difficult. So I would probably still suggest layout with water, layout with drain, layout with sewage, you know, just to put down how everything will run, but you can not need to put in the sizes if you don't need to. You don't need to put in the sizes, yeah.
Okay, now I understand what IDP 1 is supposed to be. And
yeah, so conceptual is more like the concept, you know, how you want things to look like, you know, but then it's not being developed yet. Developed as in the idea is not mature yet in that sense. So then you take the options, and then you will now take the options, and in the prelim design, that's where you will put in the, you know, some of the sizes, you know, some of the numbers of things, you know, pillar hydrants and all that. But then that one is not finished, full calculation not done yet.
Okay.
So you may ask, like, why so many macam? Yeah, it is true, you know. In the normal circumstances, when you have a piece of land, we'll probably just get you to go straight into design, you see. So by the time it comes to the engineer, we probably will just get you to design. But there are a lot of circumstances whereby the client may want to have some ideas, like how they should lay out the site, you know, and how the road, layout will be like, where the pipes will be, and all that. It's the idea for them to get how their site can look like in that sense. So that is whereby we talk about concept, you see. And then when they see it, they may not have the money to build it, you know, and it may be like a few years later they will do it, you see. So then by then they may have some new ideas, there are still new things coming out, you know, they will get you to change, you see. And then even if it comes a year later, sometimes they will ask you to do preliminary as well, you know. In what circumstances they want you to do preliminary. They quite like the concept, they like the idea, they like the layout and all that. But they are not quite sure about the commitment. You know, like the concept, to develop it a little bit further, but they just to get a gauge about how everything will cost. And then when they see the preliminary cost, you know, yeah, I think we can invest in that, or I can get investor to invest in this, you see. And that's where they actually proceed to do the final design.
I see.
So it depending on the sizes of the project. So normally for a very small project, we'll probably just go from conceptual to final design in quite a quick time. Usually 8 houses are 20 houses are 3 acres kind of thing. It's going to be quite fast kind of process, you see. But when we talk about big project like 10 over acres, 7 acres, you know, 20 acres, you know, you may even want to, in the concept bit is whereby you may even need to break it into phases to show them that, you know, you don't have to do everything at the same time. Yeah, and then in the prelim, they will say, okay, now I want to do phase 1. Can you just give me how phase 1 should be like, you see? So that is also one reason for preliminary. And then if there's some clients what like big hotel group, Shangri-La, these sort of people, when they're doing like they want to develop an island, for example, you know, they will definitely get you to do preliminary design first. They're not going to say, you know, I've got all the money, you know, just do whatever you want in the, you know, kind of thing, you know. So they will go step by step. So these are another reason for, you know, doing like huge projects, you know, that you need to do preliminary design so that the client can really shape their ideas into the project. And some very specialized concept as well. Like imagine you're going to build Twin Tower, you know, this massive building here, you know, there's going to be a landmark of Malaysia, or build National Zoo or something like that, you know. Those sort of things are pretty much you really need to go through concept, prelim, and final. Okay?
Okay. Understood. Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Like the prelim part is definitely not the final. It's just a clearer picture with dimension for your concept. So in your prelim for structure, you will start to see that there will be location of the beam, location of the column. You may want to put in some sizes for the beams and columns and all that. But again, not yet confirm the calculation yet. And there are some consultants, they are very good. They actually create some of their own calculation as well, like especially for prelim, just to get gauging of a few simple formula to actually calculate some of the basic sizes, and then they will just apply that into the preliminary design.
I see.
Yeah. So they won't do the full set. They definitely won't do the full set. I mean, it's crazy. You know, to do a full set of detailed design, sometimes it will take your consultancy firm 2 months, 3 months, or even 1 whole month of all your entire group of resources to do that, you know. So until you get a confirmation, it's a confirmed go ahead. Otherwise, nobody will go and do the detailed calculation on.
That makes sense. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So the main thing that I'll need you all to walk off with today is what is supposed to be PM's part. I mean, I'm not sure whether I've covered that. You know, I've been talking a lot about other things, you know. So is the PM part you need to calculate in a conceptual report. We need to see some costing calculation, which is based on past historical data, and I need to see how you're going to break it into projecting that into your logic of projecting your construction cost into from the past historical data into your current project. And then for time wise, all you need to do is to list down some of the major activities, and then put a gauge on the sequence of it, and then put a gauge on the time that is required, the duration that are required for each and every one of these major activities. And I think that would be about it for conceptual studies. Okay. And when you do your layout also, you need to think about your construction plan, like as in more or less what you're going to be, like how you're going to lay out it. And then when you do your construction, it's more on a site utilization. That one, I think for conceptual report, we're not too particular about that. I think conceptual report, you stick to time and costs, okay? And then when it comes to preliminary design report, I will get you to do your site utilization plan, and the more detailed estimates. It's going to be a more detailed estimates than whatever we are doing now in the conceptual report. Okay, and because there you already have some dimension and all that, then you can do what we call a unit rate. By the time that you get to prelim design, especially for costing calculation, we will be settling our project management class around week 6. I'll be covering costing with you already. So with that knowledge in costing, you can apply that for your prelim and later on apply that for your final design. So what you should be majorly concerned at the moment is your conceptual report, costing and time calculation. Later on for your prelim design, I will be briefing that how you do a calculation on all out rate, meaning that you get an overall quantity of certain concrete car, of steel bars car, you know, and then of pipe, how many length of pipe, you know, and all that. Then we can calculate I will teach you how to do an all out rate, meaning that that particular rate inside there will comprise of overall everything like car, labor, machineries, and all that. And then with that big rate, you just times it with the quantity, then you will get the overall rate. And that is for preliminary design. For detailed design, we will be doing BQs in the BQ style, break it down into different resources and all that. And that, again, you will be doing that for your assignment, for your project management project this semester. So with that experience, it's going to you can use the experience to do that for IDP final design in the second set. That's how I'm mapping your floor in that way. Anyone has any question?
Doctor, I have one question, Doctor.
Yeah.
In JKR standard, there has calculation for labor. Can we use that, Doctor?
Calculation for labor, as in the rate for labor, is it? What are we talking about here? Are we talking about cost, or are we talking about what?
We're talking about cost.
Cost, okay. You don't need that. That one is what we call a schedule of rates. Okay. Schedule of rates, or they call it day works, you know, and all that. That one is just a JKR standard for paying the workman. Okay. You will need that in your final design. Pazli, you understand?
So in that there has ada cost bahan, cost buruh, and then cost logi. So we can use that also, Doctor, as our guideline.
When do you want to use this? Can I ask?
Yes. Mostly in the costing, Doctor.
Now you want to use it now?
For guideline, Doctor. I'm not sure when we using that.
The answer to you is yes, you definitely can use it as a guideline, but my question to you is when you're going to use it, you see? You cannot use it now.
Not now, just asking.
You cannot use it now. If there's any one of you contemplating to use it now, then you are really, really off the line already. Because why? Now you don't even know what your site will look like. You don't even know what your layout will be like. You don't even know, you know, what sizes of pipe and what sizes of drain that you'll be constructing. Whether you're going to use pre-cast drain or you're going to use cast in situ, we all don't know. Okay, so how can you talk about labor, material, and all that when you don't even know how much that you're going to be using? You see?
Yes, Doctor.
Correct or not? So yes, you keep it as a guideline, but we will only start to use this thing when we actually have the activity, the work breakdown all completed already. After you have done your preliminary, you should have work breakdown already. Okay, but it's still not full. It will still not be detailed. It's only when you do your final design. Once your final design is done, then you baru dapat buat your work breakdown. And your work breakdown, you will yesterday I talked about this, you will match it with your resources. Because when you have a detailed design, you boleh measure kan, you know, how much concrete, how much steel bars and all that. Exact, correct now?
Yes, betul, betul. Correct.
Then from there, all your resources, then you get your production rate. And from your production rate, you know how many number of workers you want to put in. Then you baru dapat what, like per workers. Then you dapat go to JKR punya schedule rate.
Faham betul?
And then use it as a guideline.
Okay,
That
okay.
was for labor. And then for machine, there's going to be another set per day, how much, you know? So without knowing the day, the schedule, and the number of resources, you basically, that guideline is nothing at the moment, no use, okay?
Okay.
For your conceptual report, like I say, your job now is to collect past historical data of adjacent site or nearby site or in that area, and then try to find as many construction costs for those sites as you can find. Okay, construction costs, I'm not talking about selling costs, selling price. So then when you find that, then I want to see your logic of, I will give you a formula. You can directly use that formula. If you're more hardworking, you can actually split it into different category of houses, different site. You can do a table, a nice table, different category of houses, different total construction costs. Like project A, construction cost how much? Project B, construction cost how much? Project C, construction cost how much? Year, how much? And then you've got 5, for example, and then you've got like type of buildings, you know, type of what, you know, then you add, then you will see that if you can find a pattern and project that into your current project, then I will clap my hands and give you 2 likes. Okay, that is the best effort that you can get, especially when you're doing conceptual report.
Yes. Understood, doctor. Thank you for your yes.
And then after you get your construction cost for your project, okay, then you can think, now if I double my construction cost, I put 10, my construction cost is 10 million. My land price, don't forget your land price, okay? My land price is 1 acre is or 1 point is 10,000. So 1 acre is about 10,000 times by 100, you know? So that is about 1 million, is it? 10,000, yes, 1 million. So I've got 7 acres, my land cost is 7 million. So 17 million, okay? And then you plus some miscellaneous government levy cost, another, say, 10%. So we're looking at 1.9 million of overall cost of your project for 7 acres of land, for example, okay? Then you can say that, okay, now I double that, 34 million. 34 million, then you split. How much should I sell 34 million? That is including profit already, huh? Then how much should I sell my semi-D? How much should I sell my short lot? How much should I sell my that one? And then when you see that selling price, you will gauge, am I selling too expensive? So you can go to your property.com, guru.com, or apa-apa.com and you see what are the selling price of the property around your area. Then you look at your selling price and their selling price and you get a feel, are you being too expensive or are you being too low? Then you will have an idea whether you're doing the right thing or not. Okay. So you see, I talk about selling price only now. Because many students, the moment I talk about selling price, they forgot all about construction costs. They directly go and get selling price. There are many smart people previously, your senior, they directly go and get selling price of all the property.com and all that. And then they take that as a selling price or they increase that a little bit. And then they darab dengan rumah-rumah yang dia ada. And then they say that they divide by half and say that is my construction cost. Wow, so smart. But no light, okay? That is lazy way. That is lazy way. There is so many unknowns to that, and that is so dangerous. But some people do that. I mean, when I see that, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know whether to press you or to, you know, to really clap my hand or to really bang some, you know. So I don't want to go I don't really want to do that. You know, I talk about selling price. So the moment I talk about selling price, that's what people will go and they start to think, you know, and then selling price is the major thing, and then they start to worry about selling price, you see. So I want selling price to be the very, very end. Very end, that after you calculate, oh, you can do your pattern, do your pattern studies on the cost and all that. And then after that, you look at selling price as a checking only. Even if you're selling a lot more expensive, why not? Maybe all your construction costs that you did was actually for more higher end houses, you know. So you never know, you see. And we will never know until we did the final design, honestly. We will never know. Usually the conceptual kind of costing would be about 30, even 30% more expensive than what it should be, or you know, drop down. It's plus and minus 30+% even, you know, of arrows.
Okay, understand that.
Mm.
If the selling price is higher than the market price, so we need to reduce the selling price, doctor. And
Not really lah. I mean, like, if it's depending on how much law, you know, like let's say if your selling price is higher, okay, and then you have to ask yourself whether your project is worth it or not, law, you know, and then whether there's a market for it or not. That's why the demographic is very important, ma. You know, if let's say your selling price for your semi-D is 1 million, you know, and you're located in Samarahan, yeah, then you go like, what am I having there in that 1 million gun, you know? And then you have to look at the income level of that places, people around you, you know, if they're only earning like one household only earning like 6,000, 8,000 a month, can they afford a 1 million semi-D, you see? So, or a 800,000 terrace house, you know, obviously can't. So that is something that you need to think about, you know, before you fix your selling price, see? So if let's say the selling price is too high, then you know that your people cannot afford, so you reduce it down. That means you have to reduce the construction cost. But if your construction cost end up after prelim design really cannot be reduced in the normal circumstances, it's going to be that expensive because maybe the land price is too high and all that. That is whereby you may have to abort the project. Abort. Because you're just not going to make enough profit to do it. That will be the normal business people consideration. And or you probably have to do other thing there, you know, like other kind of development, may not be houses development. There are many projects, there are many developers, they will, before they buy land, they need to think, after they buy land, they need to think, you know, and that is through thinking of this conceptual report, costing work and preliminary costing work and all that. That is whereby they have to finally decide whether the project is on or not on. You know, there are circumstances whereby you really cannot sell that high. And then if I'm a developer, somebody offer me a piece of land, I calculate, you know, and then I said, how much houses I can build? I can only build like 10 houses. And my selling price, the land is already like 500,000. That means per house, you know, it's like my brief calculation, my per house is going to be like 50,000 land price. My construction cost is how much? My construction cost is another 300,000, you know. And then after that, I need to look at the earthwork and all that. It's going to be a lot of earthwork done, you know, flat field and all that. And then I might say that, you know, all my construction costs add up is going to be 500,000. Can I sell this for 1 million? If the answer is no, then, or if the answer is oh, even 800,000 nobody will buy, then I will just tell the seller, sorry, I don't think I can buy this land. It's not worth it. You see? So these are questions keep on asking through the different stages before you buy the land, when you're doing a conceptual, you need to get whether it's worth it or not, you know, and then if it's almost there, okay, then we will move on to prelim. And from prelim, we will really kind of know that whether this is going to be worth it or not. Wow, this is a long question, huh? Okay, we need to focus on cost and time. Let me have a look at this question. Project, yeah, you need to do Gantt chart, which is the project schedule, and the costing, construction cost, that is the construction cost that I want you to focus on definitely. You can start to do your work breakdown. Even your conceptual studies, you can do your work breakdown. But how detailed the work breakdown, it will get more and more detailed as you move on. So as a project manager, you also cannot wait until everybody's final design is done. So in the beginning of your semester 2, you almost straight away have to start to format everything, you know, your Excel table, your resources sheet and all that with the existing information that you have. You key in your work breakdown, you start to do it already, you know, and that is when your friends punya design finally ready, and the quantity, you only need to change the quantity later. You cannot wait until week 12 to do project management. I tell you what, that is committing suicide. Okay, even in the beginning of next sem, we should straight away start to think in that logical, do it with whatever preliminary drawings that you have, start to do your thing. And then later on, only change the quantity. With Excel, it's very easy. You change the quantity, everything else change already. Okay, so you need to map out that. You need to map out that. And why do I get so angry? Some of you don't attend because these other people who are doing other things, they need to know that some information needs to be fed to your group as soon as possible. They cannot say that, oh, 12 weeks I do structure, you know, then later on for my, yeah, I will just present structure, no problem, you know, take my time. Then the PM could not need to calculate the costing. You see, so we need to really work with one another, integrate with one another. And then you cannot expect people to format it, you know, like you do whatever you want, or drain do whatever they want, water do whatever they want, you know, and then structure do whatever they want, and then everything, I'm done, and plop it to the project manager. Mati semua orang ni nanti. So that's why I said set up the format earlier, set up everything earlier. You know, your group member all have the calculation sheet earlier, the calculation table also set up in the right format, you know, and then everybody use the same format. Yeah, and then as you go along, the project manager should check the progress of each and every one of the design, okay, and write up and all that, so that the formatting is the same. You don't wait until week 5, week 10, you know, like after 6-7 weeks to look at what other people have done, you see. So then that is where you detect problem. If one of your group members do have problem, you may have to come in and help as well, you see. So project management is really not for people who has, you know, a lot of you like to go by the fact that project management are people who haven't done structure, they fail RC, you know, that kind of thing, and therefore they cannot do it, you know. It's not like that, you know. Supposed to be, if me, there will be top students will be doing the project management, because this person must know everything, you know. So I'm not sure what is the arrangements like, you know. But like I said, you're supposed to be coming in to help one another, and a lot of this coordination work between one person to the other person, like people were doing earthwork and geotech. Then this information, once the project manager, you discuss with the project manager, everything is done already, or more or less you know what you should be doing, and this information will be fed to the building people doing the you know, the design of the superstructure. And then this information will also be fed to people doing the road, you see. The earthwork, if you don't feed to the people doing the road and the drain, they're not going to be able to do a lot of calculation. So these project management people are the one that really have to get the link here, you know, and pass it on to this person, or, you know, get these two groups to get together, and then we discuss and say, okay, you need what information, we have to give this to you by when, you know, and all that. It's a lot of coordination work involved here, actually. Anything else? If not, then we call it a day. It's almost 12 o'clock already. We've been on for 2 hours. Is the session helpful for everybody today?
Yes, the session is very helpful for us.
Yes, very helpful.
Yeah.
Very helpful, Doctor.
Okay, so but we will see each other a lot in project management class. So it's not that I'll be empty, you know, after this. So come and talk to me at the end of it. Because we always finish our class around before 11:30. So we can always talk more about this if you have any issues. Okay.
Okay, Doctor. Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So I will post this up. I will give this link to Dr. Razak and then ask him to post it up for you, because I don't want to post it up in the project management class. Then it will be a bit funny, you know. Yeah. So in the project management class, do come and ask me if you have any issues, you know. And for now, Dr. Lee, they all will be following the same thing that I've said to you, actually. Yeah.
Okay, Doctor.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's all, huh?
Thank you, Doctor.